I'm Non-Zero Sum James, your companion on this exploration of win-win games. Putting it on plastic. Part 2 of 8 bottles, a simple recycling idea. So what are the barriers? We have an idea that is a non-zero sum game for consumers, businesses, and the environment. But how are we going to move forward? One significant barrier is the cost involved in implementing and maintaining the program. You might ask, why should we have to pay for it at all? In a world where the market is expected to solve many of our problems, it's understandable that some might ask why we should even have to pay for recycling. After all, can't it pay for itself? And indeed, up to 2018, before China introduced its national sword policy, which stopped the recycling of low-value plastics, recycling plastics seemed like it was doing just that, paying for itself. But now that China has realized the true cost of this process to their own environment and people, the situation has fundamentally changed for recycling. We must remember that recycling is not a product we're selling. It's a public good, and an important one, saving the environment. There is no reason to think that this endeavour should be free, let alone profitable. A future worth living in is going to cost something. So, how do we pay for it? Tax plastic. Now, taxes often get a bad rap because, while they bring in revenue to fund programs, they always come at a cost. But in this case, the cost serves the function of deterring the use of plastic, which is another major positive for the environment. So the cost and the benefit are both positive, making it non-zero sum. What's so bad about plastic? While there are 7 types of recyclable plastics, I put recyclable in square quotes there is great confusion about which plastics are actually recyclable. Well, it's simple. Basically none. A comprehensive study in 2017 found that only 9% of all the plastic ever produced has been recycled. Bear in mind also that this was measured before China's national sword policy, so during the golden age of plastic recycling. The study found that 12% of plastic waste was incinerated. The rest went to landfill or otherwise into the environment. So let's take a look at the 7 types of recyclable plastics. First, there are the most easy to recycle plastics, types 1, 2, and 5, food, drink, and other containers. And then there's 4, soft plastics, which were mostly processed in China and are now no longer processed there. Then there are the most difficult types, 3, construction materials, 6, polystyrene, and 7, everything else, which have never really been recyclable. The confusion around these supposedly recyclable categories leads to contamination and an overall inefficiency in the recycling process, even for those recyclable materials that are in the easy category. Add to that the fact that the only really recyclable plastics are usually containers of some sort. This means that an intensive process of cleaning is required. This comes with a high energy cost and generates microplastics, which increasingly end up in waterways. But that's not all. When watchdogs have tracked the journey of recycled plastic, they find it jumps from country to country, going to the highest bidder. Then much of the plastic is not even being recycled, but instead being used for waste-to-energy programs. Because plastic is a fossil fuel. Because plastic is an oil product, it can be recycled by incinerating it for fuel to power industry. This is increasingly the approach of many of the remaining offshore programs. While this is technically a way of reusing plastic and keeping it out of landfill, this is being achieved by literally converting the plastic into CO2. There is really no escaping the fact that we need to disincentivize the use of plastic in the first place. So, will taxing plastic solve the problem? Unfortunately, no single solution will resolve the complex challenges we face. However, a glass reuse system and a tax on plastic can be part of a broader strategy to create a more sustainable future. In our final part, we'll explore current solutions and how we can combine them for a greater impact.